right, welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Y'all here? Yeah? Good. People are filling out the seat. Y'all ready for some excitement today? All right, that was Duncan. Seriously, yeah, there we go. Finally, we're in the library house. That's not coffee shops, espresso or something. All right, welcome to the second series of the You Matter Series 2025. Those who made it last month, December, we did a great kickoff to kind of building the whole foundation. It was about, we had a business clinic or workshop, I don't like the word clinic. The workshop was designed about really rebuilding yourself, kind of looking at things from the inside out. Because obviously there's a lot of things missing, a big gap there that's always missing and why we're not completing our goals. How many did a goal planner over here? New Year's resolutions? I mean, the gym is packed right now, I'll tell you right now. I'm 4 weeks.
It's always packed till Valentine's Day.
Right? It is.
Always.
I've been to the goal planner center Sunday morning. It's like Nordstrom Black Friday sale there. There's 50,000 people on these stairs now. I'm like, all right, Valentine's Day, it'll be thinned out and it'll be done. But anyways, that was the resource behind that training course. This is the next kickoff, the first of the 12 the entire year, and we're going to do it with Rockstar today. The day is all over, but we're going to kick this off. There's a lot of stuff at the end we'll talk about. Harris Simmons created an amazing digital book that will follow this whole series at the end. You will scan a QR code, and that code is a complete digital book that has this entire series on it. Every time somebody completes a series, like whatever Sherine's done here, we'll put the whole recording on there, and all the whatever she has as far as paperwork and stuff will be uploaded there too. You hit the follow button, you follow the whole series, it takes the whole year. But the design is for you guys to plug in this thing and utilize everything you come here to do. Don't sit here and not write notes. You didn't bring a pen and paper, shame on you. I'll tell you right now, shame on you, because I write 1,000 notes. I write notes on top of notes just to come back and apply them back in life. I'm only do one anyways, to be honest. So today's an exciting day. We're excited to have all you guys to kick off this series. This is a very dear friend of mine that started this whole thing in Hawaii with me, and I now call her my unicorn. I love her to death. She's my sister from another mister. But it's funny, our paths probably had crossed somewhere back in Sacramento at some point in our life 50 years ago. But now we're here today, an amazing connection we have here. Thank God for EXP, which we had the best in terms of life. But Sherine is an absolute crusher. She really is. I always call her the machine. She just does it and has zero excuses about anything. There's no reason why you can't show up and do it, because this woman does it every day and twice on Sunday. So she has crushed over $100 million last year alone by herself in 2024. She is tapped in and really crushing the luxury market. And Kailua, everybody knows who she is. Next to Kokomatsu, it's Duncan. So she has become a poster child for all this. She has all these tips and tricks on dominating the luxury listing market. She's going to showcase them today for you guys. So I'm excited for her to be here today, and I love the fact that you're here. I appreciate you. Give it up for Sherine Duncan, everybody.
Woo! Thanks, you guys. That was such a nice introduction, wasn't it? Chris, you're such a nice guy. I have copious notes, you guys. Okay, thanks so much, you guys. I wouldn't say I'm dominating the luxury market. I'll just tell you right now. I think I've bust into it, but I am not crushing it, but I'm gonna. And you all just heard that. So it's so much of my speech today, I'm kind of laughing. In fact, before I even get started, the first thing you're going to thank me for forever, my brother taught me this last week. I was with him. He's an amazing broker. Okay, get your phones out. Okay. We're going to start out with getting your phones out. Well, I want to know, does anybody have minutes on their phone already? Anyone? Okay, you're going to love me if this is all I do today. Okay, I'm done. Okay, put minutes on your phone. Right now, download it, and then once you get it downloaded, I want you just to go onto it and push record. Put new minutes. You go plus new minutes once you get it going. I'm going to wait for y'all to do this. You're going to love this, Dylan. It is so cool. You're all going to use this today, and then after today, you're going to have the best notes you ever took just by your phone doing it for you. Yeah, go AI. Yeah, so now go plus new minutes and hit start. Once you guys are ready to go, plus new minutes, that's it. Yeah, you see the blue dot. I know, because we're all doing it at the same time. You know how that is. Hopefully you're on. I want to wait. I want to make sure you guys all have this, because once you have this, you can really pay attention 100%, and your phone's going to do all the work for you today in taking notes. I know Chris was like, get your pen and paper out. And I'm like, mm. Chris, you're going to love this. Yeah, start audio recording. Don't worry about it. You can still use your phone. Just keep that audio going until the end, yeah? Okay, so now we're going to get started. We are just right at the beginning. So what I want to talk about today is mindset. And I say that because without mindset, you can have a perfect roadmap to become an amazing agent. But without the mindset, you will not get there. You will become an agent by following all the things they tell you to do, that you'll close one deal a month, okay? But a lot of you would be happy with one deal a month. I would never be happy with one deal a month. I would be pissed as heck with one deal a month. So this meeting today is not about just being a regular agent. You can learn that all day long. But today, this is about becoming an icon agent, okay? And busting into luxury. Okay, if that was for everybody, you guys, then everybody would already be doing it. So I just applaud you for even showing up today to come to something that's more accelerated in learning today. To me, I just want to talk about mindset to start out, and I'm going to be telling you some different stories about mindset that are going to help you understand what I'm talking about. I did sell over 100 million myself, and my team did another 35 million, and a lot of my team is right here in front of my face encouraging me today. Thanks, guys. I love my team. So anyway, I did break into luxury, like I said, and I will absolutely talk about it, and I'm going to give you tools that you can use for stuff like that, okay? First of all, a lot of you know I am a third generation realtor. If you've heard me talk ever, you've heard me talk about that fact. Let me go back and I'm going to start with a little history. It's important to understand. So I'll go back to the 50s. No, I wasn't born in the 50s. But I'm just saying I'm going to go back there because my grandmother started real estate in the 50s. The situation was she had 4 children. She lived in LA. And all of a sudden, the husband just didn't want 4 children, and he disappeared overnight, okay? My dad was the oldest. Oh, my picture's not here. I have the best picture you ever saw. It was the LA Times, and it's my dad, and he's dressed up to the T, 12 years old. He's got his 2 identical twin sisters in the wagon, folding newspapers. They're dressed up like church for Sunday, you know? And then his dog, the Weimaraner, is pulling the wagon, and they're folding the papers and handing them to him as he delivers them at the door. It was in the LA Times as a family business, okay? So I'm going back to those roots. My dad was doing that. He was mowing lawns on the weekend. My grandmother, in the meantime, didn't know what to do in the 50s, because all you're supposed to do is what? Be a good housewife, right? Sell Tupperware? That's not going to do it in LA with 4 kids. So what she did is she got a real estate license, and no one in LA would hire her. Why? She was a woman. She could not get a job anywhere in LA. So then she went and said, well, screw that. I'm going to be a broker then. I will have my own office, and I will specialize in divorce. Well, there's a word you don't even say in the 50s, you guys. So she was just so mad that she was like, okay, well, can you tell that she's my grandma? If anybody knows me, you know. So she started selling real estate, specialized in divorces, and killed it. She did really, really well. So that leads me on to at least this one. When I was a little girl in the 70s, and I was in high school in the 80s, I also got married and had kids in the 80s. I did everything in the 80s. But I want to go back to when I was a little girl, the way I answered the phone, okay? It was a ringing phone, actually made a ringing sound, and you had to go pick it up. Pick it up. Hello, Tyner's residence. This is Sherine speaking. That's how I answered the phone as a little girl, because my dad was a real estate agent, and he supported our whole family with real estate. So I would then take a note on this right here. It was just this one, like this. I take a note on there of who called. Well, now it's somebody that can't wait for him to call back. So I try to call his office. He's not there. So then I have to page him, okay? Page my dad. He has to go find a phone booth so he can call me back. okay, and find out what's going on. And then when he does, he then has to call the person. He has to make sure he carries lots of dimes. That's all it was for a phone call. And that's how he would do it. Now, when he had a listing, I really want you to wrap your heads around imagining if this is how you had to do it. When he had a listing, we would go out together, even when I was 10 years old, and we'd start out and he'd go, okay, honey, guess the square footage. Let's start out guessing. And I would guess the square footage. I walk the house and figure out, okay, it's a 200 square foot garage and it's, and figure it out. Well, then we would measure it and put it all down, and I had to make like a little graph. Now, this is a listing appointment, right? Like he already has a listing, but from there, then we would fill out a form, 1 page, okay? And that 1-page paper, then we would go, you'd call the sales rep from the title company. They would come pick up the paper, and the paper, she would go drop it off at the MLS office. The person from MLS would send out a person with a camera to take a picture of the house, okay? Just 1 picture from the outside of the house. So then you get a phone book. The phone book has 6 properties on every page, and it's like a phone book. And you have to look for listings in no chronological order at all. And there's 1 front picture, and sometimes there's no picture. Look at that. These are all the prices are in 20,000, some like 26,000 or whatever. That's what all these are. I was laughing at that. So that was the other thing. Prices are so low. So then it was just so much work, you guys. When you had a buyer, you had to get this thing. It's called a Thomas Guide map right there. And then you have to flip through and try to figure out how you're going to go show properties. So I'm just saying it was crippling when I look back at what my dad had to do to sell 60 homes a year. Imagine 60 homes a year doing it like this. So I kind of want you guys to understand that I came from that, and so for me to see this now and what we can do with what we have now, I feel like we can just do anything. I mean, and then, CC, you're talking to me today, well, how about if we do this and all these, like, she's talking about easy social media, we'll post this, and then everybody can grab it and post it too. And, I'm sitting here just seeing what I grew up with, and then what I got into real estate. We've had so much. It's been so easy. So I want you to kind of think, we have everything we need to be successful. I mean, everything, and it's easy. So if you don't think that way, I need you to think that way. That's the beginning of today, is to realize that what we have to do and what we're setting out to do is actually easy. Promise, Julia. Okay, so I think I got that through your head, the old stuff and how much easier it is now, okay? Now I want to tell you that early on, did I skip something? Sorry, I have crazy notes here. Okay, so early on, I knew I was going to do this. I'm going to go way past myself. So what's going to happen? When I was 22, okay, here we go. It's all good. I know, that was so blurry, I couldn't even see it. Thanks, Michael. So when I was 22, you guys, I read this book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. I highly encourage you guys to get that book because I read it at 22. I read it every single year for 5 years straight. And not only did I just read the book, but I practiced it. You have to actually practice it. So you can catch yourself saying all kinds of negative thoughts in your head. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have them. I crush them. Suzanne, you worked with me before for years. Michael works with me. Negative self-talk, negativity, I will run from it. If you've wanted to be my friend and I've run the other way, it's because you're negative. And I'm not saying that about anybody in this room, but it's true with people in the world. So I really, really stay away from it. I really do. And because of that is going to be the reason I've been successful throughout my life. But at 22 is when I really wrapped my head around that and just started retraining. It's like an old computer almost, you guys. You have a computer in your head. You've been being programmed since you were little bitty, being told, no, no, you can't, you can't, you can't, right? That's what you start getting trained as soon as you can understand the language is no and what you cannot do. So I'm not, and he will drown if I let him go get in the pool. This is my cutest grandson on earth. And you have to say no, but you also have to reprogram all of that now that you're not a baby. So here's some of the things I wanted to kind of bring up. You guys, ask yourself, have you ever said any of these things to yourself? Only 2 people came through my open house, and they were both just nosy neighbors. It was a waste of my time. You ever say that? Good. I will only make 50% on the sale if I can even get it, and that is just not worth it to me. I just lost a listing to an agent offering 1%. They're going to ruin our industry. I can't compete with established agents. I'm new. They're not going to listen to me. Interest rates are so high. No one's buying and sellers can't sell because they'll lose their current interest rate. Leads are a waste of time. I'm too new. I don't have the support. I'm not a natural salesperson. I'm not good looking. Okay, if you have said any of these things, as they may be true, if that's how your mind works, I promise you should leave right now. Because if you think that way, you just won't become an icon agent. I promise you that. I'm sorry, but I promise you that, because this is why. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or do you think you can't, either way, you're right 100% of the time. The kids were playing in the living room the other day, and I'm terrible Mimi because I let them do everything. And they were playing, and they were jumping from the coffee table over to the couch. And one of their little friends was over, and she was like, oh, I can't do it. And I go, then don't. Because I'm just thinking, if she doesn't believe she can, then she can't, and she's going to fall, and she's going to hurt herself. So I just believe that people can do whatever they believe they can do. So just something to keep in mind. If you hear yourself telling yourself you can't do something, first, before you do anything else, you need to reprogram your head space. Just reprogram that. And you can't do that without help. That's why I recommend reading the book. Okay. Kind of went through that. All right. Okay, so the next part that I'm going to go into is making a roadmap. So know what you can be. Can you be somebody that can make a living? Can you be somebody that can make $500,000 a year? Can you be somebody that can make $1 million a year? Is that somebody you can be? And is there a roadmap? Yes, there is, that you can commit to if you believe that. And one of the most important things that you'll never get outside of mindset is learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay? So if you can make a commitment every day, make a commitment to do something uncomfortable. Also, make a commitment to do a random act of kindness every day. Those are 2. Now, we released a chicken out of a cage yesterday after a showing. I'm like, Michael, would you hop the fence? He's like, yeah, boom. But they were catching chickens. Anyway, it doesn't matter what you do. I had a pillow one time. I went and shoved it under a homeless person's head. It doesn't matter. If you know in your head that you're supposed to do a random act of kindness every day, what that does is make you look for that random act of kindness. I'm going to give you a quick example. I wasn't even planning on telling you, but I was driving by this house one day. I saw this old lady carrying this huge box into this house. She looked like there is no way she could do that. So I pulled over my little red Mini back in the day. I go running over there, and I help her. And then she's just almost in tears. I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, I got this house I'm managing, and the handyman's not showing up, and all this is going on. So immediately we find her a handyman. We find her what she needs, and come to find out, this woman was the daughter of the owner of the house who owned other houses and needed to sell and blah, blah, blah. I ended up getting business. In fact, I think I'm going to resell that house again soon, and it's now $5 million. But what's funny is back then it wasn't that much, but it was, I'm not saying do random acts of kindness because they turn into business. They just make you feel better, and they feed you endorphins every day, but you won't believe how often they do turn into business as well. So just kind of giving you that as an everyday, like do that random act of kindness and do something uncomfortable. I'll tell you what's uncomfortable. Making cold calls. Terribly uncomfortable, right? It's really uncomfortable. But it's one of the things that you're going to have to start doing if you really want to just turn your business upside down and do like a lot of business and get going on it if you're newer. I did do that for a few years. I would say 3 years I was really dedicated to making those calls. I still do the uncomfortable things, but to me they're not uncomfortable anymore. To me, what I want to do first thing in the morning is all the things that have to do with actually creating business. There is such a difference, and that's a big part of what I'm going to talk about today is creating your business instead of just being in your business, just taking care of your business or creating it. These are two totally different things. So when I decided to sell houses here in Hawaii, I didn't think I'm going to sell one house per month. I think I kind of said that earlier. I actually thought I'm going to be in the top 100 of the 9,000 agents here in Hawaii in my first 3 years. And I just knew that I would be. I was my second year, but I knew that I would be. And how did I know that? It was like because I knew it, it happened. So again, it's back to the mind frame. I didn't have a sphere of people anywhere that I knew. I remember sitting down with Paul Mayer. He owned Elite Properties, and I wanted to go to Elite. And he said, well, okay, you've never sold houses before, but do you belong to a church? Or do you belong to like, you know, a country club, or do you play golf? I'm like, none of the above. He's like, well, how are you gonna do this then? I go, I'm gonna crush it. And he's like, well, how? I said, I am. And so he goes, you know, we don't take new agents at Elite. And I go, well, don't take me. You will really be sorry. And then he did take me. And I was in their top producer by September. This was in July. I made their top producer in September because I was just scraping. I was talking to everybody. I was on the phone making calls all the time to people I didn't know. Thank God for Suzanne. I don't know if you know this, Suzanne, but you were one of my first sales because you got referred to me by Liana, my daughter, because I didn't know anybody. My daughter knew a few people, thank goodness. Yeah, so it was like I didn't know anybody, but I was talking to everybody, and I was so uncomfortable, and I knew the more uncomfortable I got, the more people I would talk to. And so the mindset was there. Setting up website. Okay, so that's something I want to talk about. You guys, a lot of times you're new, you get into real estate, and what do you start doing? You start doing your social media, and you organize all of your, you start making your list of people. That's great. Make the list. That's super important. You start doing a lot of things that seem like you are building your business, but you're not building it. You're just playing around with it, okay? Until you're selling houses, you're not building a real estate business. You are not in business, not until you start selling houses. So stop messing around and start selling houses, because that's what we're here for. You can work and do all kinds of beautiful social media. I always laugh because the ones that look like they're the biggest producers on earth have sold like one house for $500,000. It's just obnoxious. It's great. They look really great, but they're not doing any business because people who are doing business don't have time to do that. It cracks me up. Anyway. What you want to do, then have your mode back together, setting up websites, social media, it's not how you get there. Touring homes, taking classes, going to classes does help a lot more than those other things. They are important. They're still not actually closing deals. You need to get face-to-face with people. I love Dylan. He makes some really good facts. He just runs the numbers. He's like, this is just how it is. This is what you do. You talk to 5 people every single day. 5 people every day. That's 25 a week. That's blah, 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 blah. He's like, and that's 1 sale a month. Okay? That's all it takes. Talk to 5 people a day. Can you freaking handle that? Come on, you guys. 5 people a day. That's if you want to just be mediocre in real estate. Okay? So telephone conversations, not text. Get uncomfortable. Follow your game plan of creating leads and following up on them. 20% of your time prior to noon should be spent uncomfortable. I just want to make sure your notes got that and wrote it down for you. Okay, so I'm just going to go taking care of business, creating business. This is what I'm talking about. Make it a part of your life. I remember one day driving up to show a condo up on the North Shore at Turtle Bay. You guys all know that's kind of like my sweet spot up there. I love Turtle Bay. Legal short-term rentals, you guys, a little cash cow. So anyway, I'm driving up there and I drive past. I really thought, oh, I could call. I was thinking all these people I could call or just really listen to music because it was a gorgeous day driving up the coast. But then I'm like, no, it's still morning. I got to be uncomfortable. So I call Ben. I'm passing by Ben's house. And I'm like, hey, Ben, I said, are you still thinking about selling? How are you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And it was somebody I had never, I knew he was going to sell one day, and I had his number, so called him. Then I continue on up, and there's Mona's house, and I call Mona, and I'm like, I sold her house a few years ago. I'm like, Mona, how's it going? You know, how you loving living here? And what's happening? And blah, blah, blah. I'm just talked to her for a little while. And then I called this other guy and asked him how he was doing. Then I go to my appointment. By the end of that day, the 3 people I called, Ben called back, said, yes, I want to sell. Can you come and let's talk about how to get this house on the market? Mona called, and she told me she had a 1031 exchange and that she had about $400,000 and needed to spend it and place it somewhere right away. I got her little Hawaiian monarch. And then right after that, Tim calls me and says, you know what, I've got a place in LA I need to sell. Do you have an agent down there? And I got that referral fee. So all 3 of those phone calls turned into business. So while you're driving around, I don't care where you're driving, just let your driving direct your calls. It's kind of fun. So that's just become a game for me. As I drive, I'm like, oh, so-and-so, I'm going to call so-and-so. Oh, so-and-so, I'm going to call so-and-so. And just stay in touch and keep talking to people. That's just talking to people. Like Dylan says, just talk to people. Make it a part of your life. So that was just another silly little story, but I hope you guys are understanding it works. Now take inventory of your time. Okay, you're going to look at this. I want you to look close. Can you guys all read it, or do you want me to read it? Okay, pretty basic. I mean, I want you guys to consider doing this because it will help you so much. Write down everything you do every day for a week or 2. Okay, if you're super disciplined, somebody like Dylan, he could tell you right now how every minute is spent. I broke this up in a half hour. He could do it in minutes. Okay, that's why he's so productive. So the more you break it down, the more productive you're going to be. So you make breakfast, shower and get dressed, right? Grab coffee, drive to work, check and reply to emails. Everybody does this. Return phone calls and texts. This is probably how most of your days are. I bet you anything this right here is what most of you are doing. Returned phone calls and texts, created 3 videos for social media, drove to take recent closing clients to lunch. God. I'm really kind of pissed off right now. I feel like this is messed up. While driving to lunch, made 3 calls, showed pre-qualified buyers 3 houses. This is not right.
That's okay. Just keep going.
It really messes up what I'm trying to prove. You know what? I'm glad you are, because it took me forever to make these, okay? And I don't have time. Frickin' makes me mad. The point of this was, it's all messed up, but this is the second one. The first one looks like a realtor's day, and it really is. But the second one was taking off all of the part of the day that you can take off and be more productive, okay? So I took off a whole bunch from the first one and put it on the second one. The second one is this. The first one is just all wrong. And so then what it did is take it down to doing only personal things and only things you need to do as a realtor. So the things that would be taken off is, geez, this is just so messed up. I'm so bummed. Okay, forget this. I'm just gonna be really clear about this. What's important is that you're doing things nobody else can do every day. Time is super important. So you want to take off a whole bunch of things that I don't think you realize you can take off. So virtual assistants, they're cheap, you guys. Seriously, they're cheap. You're running a business. You should all have a virtual assistant. You should all have a transaction coordinator. Every one of you. You should not be doing paperwork, you guys. Okay, you just shouldn't, because it's up to you to make the money in your business, and you will never make money doing paperwork in your business. You're not going to. So it's really, really important to get rid of as much as you can. A virtual assistant can also even go through your emails. They can get to know what's important and just flag the things you need to look at. Michael calls my emails the jungle. The jungle. I don't know, maybe it's in the jungle. So, because there is a lot of junk in the jungle, right? Just a lot of leaves covering up what you need. So that's something else a virtual assistant can do. Don't sell short what a virtual assistant can actually do for you. They can take a ton of time off. You know how much I pay my virtual assistant? She's full-time, and I pay her double what I used to, and now I pay her $1,000 a month. So she was $500 a month for like 8 years. Well, $250, then $5, and I've given her raises, but so you can get those, talk to me. I can tell you about where you can find those, but you guys really do need to get virtual assistants. Everybody in real estate should have one, so you can take a bunch of stuff off here so that instead you're talking to people and you're making calls, okay? Let's see. So that was really a cool exercise I was going to do, but that's okay. So when I decided to get into real estate, you guys, I went to Arizona. There was this guy named Brett Tanner. He was 36. He was like a Dylan and Nanka. And he was selling 900 homes a year, 36-year-old. And I knew him, so I called Brett and I said, Brett, can I just come spend the day with you? And he's like, heck yeah. So I flew to Arizona from Hawaii and I hung out with him all day. And I just observed. I just wanted to see how in the world does one person sell 900 homes a year? So I just watched him all day. And he had a call center, and he had a whole bunch of agents that came in, and they were all on the phone, just taking leads and calling. And then at noon, it was like a pack. They all just jumped up off their desk, and out they all went. And I'm like, where are they all going? Oh, they're all going to appointments. They have to have appointments all afternoon. And then I'm like, well, what do you do? And he goes, oh, this is when I go play golf. I'm like, whoa. So anyway, it was quite the concept. And at the end of the day, though, what I got from him is one thing. I will never be a mega team leader. That's not me. But I respect him huge for doing what he does. But what I really loved and what he told me is I met Sabrina, his transaction coordinator, and he goes, yeah, I've never written a contract. I sell 900 homes a year, and I've never written a contract. And I was like, I'm never writing a contract either. Like right then and there, I was like, never. I'm going to say I've never written a contract. Couple, I had to. Couldn't get a hold of anybody. But anyway, almost can say that. So I went home, and he gave me this book. At the end of the day, he takes me to a cigar club, which I hate smoking and cigars and all of it. So I'm sitting in there choking. And he gives me the book. Sorry, Chris. He gives me a book called What to Say When You Talk. No, I'm sorry. The Miracle Morning. How many of you read The Miracle Morning? Okay? If you haven't read it, you guys, it's so good. So he gave me that book, and he goes, he's giving me advice, and he's like, just start with this book and see where it takes you. So I read the book on my way home. It's just a little book on the airplane. It was 6.5 hours on the plane. I get home. I start practicing Miracle Morning the next day, and I am now just starting in real estate, okay? So I decided to go ahead, read that book. I started practicing Miracle Morning every single day. I did that. I don't still do it. I wish I did. But I did it for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, my first 2 years in real estate. But it did completely set me in the morning up for my success. I would be out on the beach talking to myself. Success is my only option today. That's it. Relentless pursuit of my dreams and goals. I would be saying this outside on the beach. People walked by, thought I was so weird, but they got used to it. So I just did a lot of self-talk in the morning. I wrote in a journal. I did all my stretching. I did all this stuff on the beach, all just in the morning for 30 minutes to an hour. So then I went and I hired an assistant right away, a transaction coordinator, to go ahead and do all my paperwork because I knew I was going to have a deal, and I did. I had a deal my first week. So I was able to just start going with that right away. I want to kind of move on to this part right here, to the burn the boats. Most of you probably heard the burn the boats story. It was a Spanish conquistador who, he basically, imagine this, he took his boats of his army, and they were going to go to war, and they came to the beaches, and and they were going to go, it was a very big army that they were going to have to try to go up against, but they had lots and lots of money and everything, more ships, they had everything you could imagine if they could just conquer them, but they weren't very many of them. And when they got there, they were told to burn their boats, which means the only option they had was to go conquer these people and take over, because they couldn't run away and they could never leave without conquering. So it's kind of what you want to do as you go into real estate. You want to burn the boats. When I was 28 years old, I moved to San Luis Obispo. I had 2 little kids already. It was a small town. I don't know if any of you have heard of San Luis Obispo. It's very small. I just recently gone through a divorce, well, about a year before that, and I decided to move there. Ended up meeting another man that I ended up moving in with. He assured me everything's going to be great, because I was so stubborn. When I left my first husband, who's still my friend to this day, I would not take alimony or child support. Probably why he's friends with me. To think of it. But I knew I get down there, and then I move in with this guy, and in no time, he loses his job. He's a loan officer. How do you lose your job as a loan officer, you guys? It's like losing your job as a realtor. So anyway, that should have been my first sign. But what I did is I was 28, I didn't know anybody, I have 2 little mouths to feed, and I'm like, shoot, I have got to do something. So I look in the newspaper, that's how we used to find jobs. I look in the newspaper, and there was this sales rep position, and I think about it. I can go back to my dad, and then the sales rep would come, so my idea of a sales rep was, oh, I could do that, right? So I called the office. It was called Homestead Title. I called and I said, hey, I'm interested in the job you have for the sales position. And she goes, oh, it's already filled. Now, what would a normal person do? Okay, not me. So I got dressed up and I went over to Homestead Title, tried to find it. I was brand new to the area, didn't know anything or anybody. And I go in, I said, I have a meeting with the manager. And she goes, oh, okay, what's your name? I tell her and I sit down. And you can tell they're all nervous, like they didn't know there was this meeting. And then finally the manager comes out and he's like, hi. And I go, hi. And I jump up and I go, hey, I'm Sherine. I'm glad we were able to meet. And he's like, yeah, come on in my office. And so he goes in the office. I sit down across from him and he's just looking at me with the blankest look. And I said, I'm here for the sales rep position. He goes, oh, we filled that. I go, no. I'm here to fill that position. I understand you hired somebody else. However, here's what my proposition to you. First of all, do you think I could get in a real estate office since I just got in your office? He's like, yeah, I'll hand you that. He's kind of giggling and laughing. The guy was on the PGA Tour. He's an amazing guy. I had no idea. It was Tom McFadden. We became great friends. And I said, here's my proposition. Now, understand I have no money coming in. No money coming in and 2 little kids at home, okay? 28 years old, I'm in a new town. So this is what I said to him. I said, here's my proposition. Okay, am I clicking it or something? Oh yeah, of course I am. This is like my phone. So anyway, I said, this is my proposition. I would like to work for you for 3 months with no pay except commission only. How is that gonna hurt you? And in 3 months, you can let go of that other person without any problems, right? In the first 3 months, you can let somebody go for no reason at all. It's kind of like your J1 inspection period. So I said, you can let her go in the next 3 months. And if I prove myself to you, what do you have to lose? And he's just shaking his head, laughing at me. He's like, what do I do with this kid? And so I got the job, of course. Now I'm thinking, I got to make money today. My kids need to eat. So from there, I had business, I would say, in the first day coming in to the title company. And I remember within 5-6 months, he comes, well, they did let the other one go in 2 weeks, by the way. It only took 2 weeks to let go of the other person, that poor soul. But what happened is he comes to me and shows me his check and shows me mine. And he goes, you are making more money than me. How did you do this? You said I wasn't going to be paying you at all, and I'm paying you more than I'm making now. So that was, kind of just that coming from, and that's what I'm talking about, you get it within you the more you program your mind to just not ever take no, to know that you're going to be okay and that you're going to be able to succeed. So there's the mindset of burning the boats. Growing up with a father and selling, it was not something, I didn't want to sell houses. So here I was 28, I had done this, but my loan officer, now I married the guy for some reason, and the loan officer husband was still struggling. So then I'm thinking, well, I'm getting all these real estate agents to use this title company. I could get them to use my husband to do loans. So then I pivoted and I bought a fax machine and a printer, and I put it in my third car garage, and I started Spinnaker Financial. So got my real estate license again. I had it when I was younger. I got it again, and again, now I'm 30. And we started this company, a mortgage company, and we built it from the ground up. That was probably 1993. By the year 2000, we were the #1 mortgage company in the county. And all I was doing, I wasn't doing the loans. I wasn't doing paperwork. I was just running around talking to the same realtors I knew, getting them to come use, not always Tyson was his name. I actually ended up recruiting the best loan officers I could because I realized all the agents loved them. So all I have to do is bring them to Spinnaker. And we really had a phenomenon. I wish somebody would do lending like that back then. Every time there was somebody gave us a lead, I ran out, gave them a lottery ticket. Every time a lead came in for a buyer, they got a lottery ticket. And then the other thing we did is all the closings we had that month, we had a big party in our parking lot. We had a keg, we had live music, we had Mexican street tacos. It was like a sense of community. And the only people that came were the ones that had closings with Spinnaker Financial that month. So we would do at least 60 to 100 transactions a month. We had a community that we had created, and it was an amazing thing that we did. What happened there, though, as pretty as we looked, as successful as we are, or we were, what happened was I had a very abusive Tyson. Isn't that funny? That's the name. He was very abusive, and one time he was so abusive that I knew it was over. I had to leave, and I had to leave quick, and I had to just leave everything. So that was when I was 41. So I left everything. I mean, I left this beautiful custom home, our company that I had built, all the money in the bank, and it was a lot. I just left everything. My kids were both going to college in San Diego, so I just got in my car. I didn't know which way to go. I ended up going towards the kids, and I went down to San Diego. And honestly, you guys, as happy as I am, and like the happiest person you ever knew, I was glad to be rid of Mr. Tyson, but it was everything else I had built that was so hard. And for the first time ever, I just went into a depression. Like, I was so sad. I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to get up. And I think that all this is so good for me because it helps me when I'm sitting here telling you guys, like, you know, take no excuses, you know, whatever. Don't think I've been like all blessed, like everything's been easy, because I've fallen down. I've fallen down a lot, and you got to get back up. And the worst part of falling down is the time between falling down and not getting back up. Just get the heck back up. You know, the faster you get up, the faster you heal. And so that from the past is how I feel about falling down and getting back up. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I am going to get you guys some stuff. Okay, so as I said, I didn't want to get into real estate. I really felt I wasn't in real estate, even though I was in loans, but as you know, I was. And by the way, when I left that, I had 18 rentals that I left. We had bought a bunch of rentals. I really had built a little empire, and I left it. I did not take anything. So I had to start over again. It's harder to start over the second time than the first time for some reason, because you just know how much work it's going to be. But you got to do it. And I will say that every successful person you ever meet has fallen more than most people. The more successful they are, the more they have fallen, the more things that have happened that they had to come back from. So welcome the hard times. They make you stronger. They make you relate with other people better. I was at the dentist yesterday. I had a panic attack. I have never had a panic attack. I had a horrible panic attack. And all I kept thinking is this is happening so I can be more understanding of other people that have things happen like this. And so I was grateful that it happened because I thought now I won't be judgmental to other people. I have a daughter that gets panic attacks, and I'm always kind of like, and I will not be that way ever again because I had to get blessed with a panic attack, so I get it now. So having a great reputation in the industry landed me a job in Lake Tahoe. So I was in San Diego. I moved to Lake Tahoe when I was in this very bad place. And I get there to Lake Tahoe, I don't know anyone. I mean, I don't know anybody. I didn't know anybody in San Diego but my kids, but then I was hiding because I didn't want them to see me so negative and so sad. So I moved to Tahoe by myself with my dog and had a job in 5 minutes just because of my reputation. I had a job very quickly. And then I was doing really well in Tahoe. I actually just decided to be a sales rep again because it was 07. I didn't want to get into loans or real estate. Imagine, some of you lived through that. It was really hard, 09. But I got into becoming sales rep for Fidelity National Title. And what happened is there was 1 month that we had 100% of the business. That means every single sale that happened in the Tahoe and Truckee area came to Fidelity. So I was just doing well again. Because I was just focused on the agents that actually do business, because unfortunately that's only about 20% that really do all the business. So that got me recruited to Hawaii. So that's how I got here. It's Fidelity National Title recruited me here to Hawaii to be the sales manager to help all the salespeople try to get 100% of the business. But I don't like corporate, you guys. I have been much more of my time in 100% commission. It's where I thrive. I did, and I met some of you guys at that time. That was over 10 years ago, but 13 years ago when I came. So anyway, I moved on from that into this was hard. I had a house on beachside Kailua. I was only renting it thanks to that wonderful ex-husband of mine. I also had some foreclosures I had to get through. All kinds of things happened when I left that behind me. So from buying my first house at 18 to being between 40 and 50 years old, not being able to buy a house was pretty tough too. So I was renting a house on the beach in Kailua for $7,500 a month. I had a great paying job and I quit. And all my 3 adult children, because now I've adopted one in Tahoe, all 3 of them have followed me here to Hawaii. They're all getting married and starting their families, and it was a family compound. So I really needed to make this payment, and I jumped off and quit working for Fidelity because I wanted to sell houses. I decided I wanted to make more money. Anyway, so that was certainly burning my boat. So what I did is I started calling all the top agents that I know, and I mean like in the top 1% of agents I know, the people that are doing extremely well in real estate. So all across the nation and even outside of the nation. While I was on a trip last week, I started texting all these people in my phone that were super, super high top agents. And I asked them all if they started in real estate, did they start with a part-time job? I was really curious. Did they start with a part-time job, or did they just go full-blown and jump in? And I would say 99% of them just jumped in. And I know now why. I mean, that's why I wanted to do this, because it's a mindset. And if you get that mindset, you'll be able to jump, because you'll just know there's no other option. You'll burn your boats. So I thought that was a really interesting thing. I was 50 different agents I put this out to, and that was like all I knew. And there was one that didn't, but there was one that's here. Unfortunately, she's not here today. She is at EXP, so I know her, and she's a top agent. And she responded, Sherine, I had $3,000 in my account, 2 kids, no alimony, no nothing, and I went full-time in real estate. That's burning boats. I mean, if she didn't succeed, her kids wouldn't have eaten. She's a top realtor here. I talked to so many of them, and it was really enlightening just because it was mindset. They all had the mindset, and then everything else followed. So let me see. Thank you, Michael. So investing in Hawaii. So when I got into real estate here in Hawaii, all I could think of is what? I was like, I want to have the house on the street. I want the listing to be the prettiest. I want it to smell the best. I want it to look the best. I want it to be the best listing when people go out and look at 5 homes in this neighborhood. I want mine to be the best. So that was kind of my platform for marketing when I started in real estate. The other thing that I did is I went ahead and I started a Facebook ad campaign. And even then, they said, oh, Facebook ads don't work. There was so much negativity around that. But we created a back end that just basically was like, what's my home worth? And this is in 2012 when prices were going up, okay? Prices had just finally, they had been stable here in Hawaii about 5 years, and they had just started to go up. So that did hook a lot of people. What's my home worth? They want to know. They know, it's going up now. So they would click on what's my home worth. From there, it would ask them, like, do you want to know because you're curious, or you're thinking about selling, or you want to refinance, or you want to remodel? And they'd click that. If it was that they wanted to sell, the next button was, okay, in 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, 6 to a year, 1 to 2 years. And then it would tell them there's basically an expert in your area will get back with you, and you'll get a free CMA. And then a little while later, they get another text, and it was like, Sherine Duncan has been assigned to you, as though there's anybody else. She's the expert in your area, right? So, and then that's how that works. So then what I would do is I would give them a call. It was the warm call. It was not an uncomfortable call because they're ready for it. So I would call them and I'd say, yep, I was just assigned to your house to get you a free CMA, blah, blah, blah. And then I would just let them know, I will get it to you by end of day on Sunday. I always said that because on Sundays, I would take the CMA. They did not expect me to show up at their house. And I would show up at their house at 5 o'clock on Sunday because everybody's home. Everybody's home at that time. So that's when I showed up. And often they would be so surprised that I brought it. Oh, you didn't have to do that, And I'd be, yeah, no, it's no big deal. You live right down the street from me because I was running ads in my neighborhood. And they would invite me in. I would get to look at the house. I would be able to talk to them about it. And that is how I became a listing agent. So because I didn't know anybody, so I just started figuring out a way to know people, figuring out a way to get in their house. And Suzanne, you helped me so much with that back end. This girl right here is queen of marketing right there. Queen of marketing. So if you want to figure out a way to do that, you talk to her. It's not cheap, but it worked. So anyway, I do want to just take a quick second so I don't forget to also say something to Juan back there. He has worked with me. I've worked with Juan for years and years. He's one of the best photographers. So part of my whole story was I want to have the best houses, right? I want them to smell the best. I want the best photography. So I am very picky about photography. Juan is one of the best. So if you don't have a great photographer, talk to Juan right back there. I also, okay, I'm going to move on from there. Now we're going to talk about some tips, okay? So here's what I really feel is important. How do you be the expert, okay? I think this is so important, and I'm glad this is taking notes for you right now because this is super, super important today. How do you stand out? When you talk to those people that you're finally talking to, okay? These are things you must know. You need to fully know the process of moving pets to Hawaii. Okay? Everybody wants to talk about their dogs. When you're the one that knows how to get their dog here safely, you just became their best friend. Check the new listings every morning. You need to know your market. If you're talking to somebody and they say, oh, something just came on up the street, do you know anything about it? You should know about it. Know the best trees to plant for quick privacy. Understand the different types of zoning. You've got to know this stuff before you start talking to people. So know it fast, learn it fast. Understand different financing options. Understand what hard money is, conventional, VA, HELOC. You need to know what those are or you shouldn't be talking. Like, know these things. And then know where the legal short-term buildings are on the island. Know the projects in Kaka'ako. Understand the two different developers and how one has bigger square footage and the other one has nicer amenities. You need to know that. Know and understand leaseholds and Hawaiian homelands. Like those are things that if you know that stuff, when you're talking to somebody and inevitably one of these items is gonna come up and then you just become the expert. You have that opportunity to become the expert, then they're gonna listen to you about real estate. They're simple things, but you need to know what they are. I went ahead and read them out loud because I know that your minutes is taking notes. Isn't that great? So becoming the expert is super important, and then there's a couple other things that I think that remember that every no is just a not yet. I always think that in my head. Everybody who owns a house will sell it likely one day, even if they die, and then you got to sell it for the kids, because I do that a lot. So it's no, and no that they're not going to sell is not true, you guys. Everybody who owns a house is going to sell. So don't put those away on the back burner, okay? So if you want to, that's a cool thing about being a listing agent. I'm very, very heavy listing agent, and that is a huge part of it. Knowing that if I have their name and their number and I have talked to them about their dogs or about schools, oh, that's the other thing that's supposed to be on here and it's not. Know every private school. Know everyone. Go tour them. Find out what it costs for kids to get in them. Find out how long the waiting list is. If you know stuff about their kids and their dogs, you think they're not going to listen to you? Like they will. That is something that's really, really important. I kind of laugh because I am all about making my listings pretty. And these are just little simple added value to you guys today that I think is so simple, but I thought I would share it. And that is, and this is what helped me get into luxury, okay? There is no question. Kavena, you know that, huh? So it's so simple. New paint, light fixtures, and cabinet hardware. You guys, that costs so little, and I don't ever do a listing without at least that. I mean, unless it's a brand new house, which happens. New floors, remodel bathrooms and kitchens are much more costly. They can fetch more money. So if it's on a higher level or a higher scale, it might be worth having them do. Landscaping, super important to freshen up. Photography is vital. Wonton tomato. Don't use your cell phones. Don't put photos of toilets with seats up, trash cans, fans. You know what a fan looks like? Looks like the house is hot. Hide fans, okay? So simple, but you guys, simple. Be scrappy, okay? Does anybody think I might be scrappy? I'm so scrappy that I don't even know how I have a gem of a husband now, and I don't know how he puts up with me, because I am very scrappy. I really think it's important to be scrappy. When I did everything I did to make a house perfect and beautiful and got all the listings that I did, I made them pretty. I'm going to tell you why. I made them pretty because I thought they would sell for more money and faster, which they did. What I didn't know is that that would attract other agents. I had no idea. I never even thought that. And over the years, I have co-listed a lot of listings with people that just are like, I don't know what she's doing, but I want my listing to look like that. Let's work together. So I've done a lot. And it was last year that Joel Cavasso called me for that exact reason. He would come in my listings, and he always loved them. And he said, you know, I was thinking 0% of 0 is still 0. And 50% of something is something, a lot more than 0. And I'm like, Joel, how can I help you? I'm just like, I did not know what he's saying. He goes, I was thinking, what if you go on listings with me and we get the listing and I'll split it 50-50 and you do all the heavy lifting. How would you feel about that? I was like all your listings? And he's like, well, I'm going into listing appointments. I'm not getting them like I used to, which I found out why, because he goes on a listing appointment like this. Just walks around, looks at the house, and then he gets the listing. Because he's a legend, because everybody knows that he knows how to sell a house. That's why, because he's a legend, okay? He didn't get there. That's 44 years fast forward, okay? So So anyway, jumping in with Joel Cavasso came from being scrappy. It came from wanting to be the best in what I do. And then I had sold one house for 10 million before I met Joel, or before I started working with him. But he really popped me into luxury where I am now, even to the point of now even friends that I know or past clients that I know see that I'm selling really more expensive homes, and they're calling me to list their more expensive homes. So it's all coming to, I mean, my business with Joel is about, what do you think, Michael, 25%, 20% of what I do? 15%. So it's just a piece of what I do, but it has really helped me. And if I hadn't have been scrappy, if I hadn't have been just trying to do the best I could do for my clients, doing the random acts of kindness, which this goes back to like things like, I forgot about this, Joel's clients came to a bunch of my open houses, and they had made a few offers that hadn't been accepted. Finally, they came to one and they're like, can you please just write this up? And I'm like, are you kidding? You got the rock star for the rock star is your agent. I'm just like, no. And they're like, no, we want you to do this for us. I call Joel Cavasso. I'm like, hey, rock star. I always called him Mr. Rockstar. Mr. Rockstar, your clients are asking me to write up an offer. He goes, well, then write it up. I go, I can't do that. They're your clients. He goes, write it up. So what would you do? You write it up and you send the money to the other agent that deserves it, right? Do the right thing, you guys. That was many years ago. But the point is, just always do the right thing, the best that you ever can, and be giving. Come from abundance. Come from a place that nobody knows your children are going to starve if you don't get the next deal. You don't want people to know that, you guys. Okay? Come from abundance, that you're going to give everything you got in order to bring home the money that you need to bring home. You give it all you got. And just know that if you're talking to people, you're coming from abundance, you're coming from a giving, a grateful place, that you're grateful for the people you're talking to. You're willing to give them whatever it takes to help them. Everything else does fall in place. But you've got to be so scrappy. And scrappy is not taking the scraps from the other dog, okay? Because sometimes you think that way. Don't do that. Don't do that. Free the chickens. Free the chickens. But I want to end this with something, because so much of this was so important to me, that you guys understand the mindset. I hope I helped you with mindset. I want you to read those 2 books I mentioned, and I want to play this last. Michael, can you help me?
Sure.
I want to play that last. I can't even see that. I want to play that last thing that's on there. I want to play that. It's Matthew McConaughey. Have you guys, I know that, Dylan, you probably heard his speech. Have any of you guys heard that speech that Matthew McConaughey gave? It's about 4 minutes. It's a speech that they say, broke the internet. Yeah? I'm going to play that. Right after that, you guys are free to either go or hang around and ask me whatever questions you want to ask, okay? It's at the very end. There is a, how did it get gone? Oh, I know where I can find it. Cover this up. Okay. I know where I can find it. Okay, I got this.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, you want to copy that and paste it into a web browser, and that's it. I'm going to play this for you guys. I want you to really take heart. I sit here and I look at some of you, and I can tell that you're getting what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there's some of you that are getting it. Just taking this business to another level is completely mental. And I feel like Matthew McConaughey kind of nails it in this. So if you will, like, put your phones down and... Is this not working because it's not part of the internet? Because I'm not... I hope this works with a hotspot. Do we not have internet here? It would be better on an internet than a hotspot. Here comes Chris. We're going, but we can't. That's okay. You guys can watch this from here. Read it. Read it. That's what I thought would happen if we did it on a hotspot.
Is it on your downloads? Sherine.
I can send it to you. It's so powerful, you guys.
Well, you'll attach it to the whole thing.
I
right?
will, but who watches that stuff after they've already been there? I don't.
I watch every video Chris says.
Do you really? I just have no. I need to find more time. I need to shave my head. That would save me 20 minutes a day. Huh, Dylan? Right? Yeah, you take those little bitty minutes here and there and how important they are. What's that?
Enter your Dolly Parton era.
Of wigs. Okay, I could do wigs. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Can you turn it up at all? I love this, you guys. I could watch this every day.
Did you read Relentless? Did you read Relentless?
I'm going to talk to you about prioritize yourself. Prioritize who you are. You want to be. You don't spend time with anything that antagonizes your character. Be brave. Take the hill. But first, answer that question. What's my hill? So first, we have to define success for ourselves. And then we have to put in the work to maintain it. Make that daily vow. Tend to our garden. Keep the things that are important to us in good shape. Where you are not is as important as where you are. It's just as important where we are not as it is where we are. But the first step that leads to our identity in life is usually not. I know who I am. I know who I am. It's not the first step. First step is usually I know who I am not. Process of elimination. Defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step that leads us to really knowing who we are. You got a group of friends that you hang out with that you might not bring out the best in you. They gossip too much, not shade, maybe like to be video games. Start out at that bar. Keep going to we all see going to work drinking. Or that computer screen. That computer screen that keeps giving us an excuse not to get out of the house and engage with the world with real human interaction. How about that food that we keep eating? Doesn't taste so good going down. Makes us feel like crap the next week. Feel lethargic. Keep putting on weight. Well, those people, those places, those things, stop giving them your time and energy. Just don't go there. Put them down. And when you do this, when you do just put them there, you make people your time, and inadvertently find yourself spending more time and your places that are healthy for you, that bring you more joy. Why? Because you just eliminated the who's, the where's, the what's, and the when's that were keeping you from your identity. And trust me, too many options, I promise you, too many options will make it tiring of us all. Right? So get rid of the excess, the wasted time, decrease your options. If you do this, you will have accidentally, almost innocently, put in front of you what is important to you. That process of elimination. Knowing who we are is hard. It's hard. Give yourself a break. Eliminate who you are not first. You're going to find yourself way too big. Instead of creating outcomes that take from us, let's create more outcomes that pay us back, fill us up, keep your fire lit, turn you on for the most amount of time in your future. Try our best to draw architecture with a verb as well. Since we are the architects of our own lives, let's study the habits and practices and routines that we have that lead to and feed our success, our joy, our honest pain, our laughter,
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? That's so good. I love that. Okay, so for those of you, I know there's a few people on my team that were needed to go, so I understand if you have to go. But if you have any questions, I'm here. Is there any questions that anybody has about anything I talked about that would help you? Everything. Thank you. Thanks, Kavenna. It was good to see all of these people that I love and know. Hi.
Hi. I guess out of all the things you've done where you felt uncomfortable, which one of those do you felt ended up being the most productive for you?
Definitely making the calls. Making calls to people I don't know, that don't know that I'm going to call them, the leads that you want to call back and talk to again. I think that is some of the hardest things. Sometimes you just don't feel like talking to anybody. And going out, your day's almost done and you've only talked to a couple people, either picking up the phone or going on a beach walk and talking to somebody on the beach, So sometimes you just don't feel like doing that. I think that it gets very uncomfortable, even though I love people and I would talk to anybody. But sometimes you just don't want to. And that doesn't mean you don't do it. You keep doing it anyway. Yeah. That was a good question. Yes. Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, so true. Anybody have anything else?
Do you know what your average price points were, like years 1 through 5?
Believe it or not, they're still pretty similar. It kind of blows my mind. I feel like if I close 65 deals in a year, like if it's 65 million, it's 65 deals. It was last year. But 23 was 65 deals, 65 million. I haven't run the number. I know, you can't even believe this out of me. I don't know how many deals I closed last year, but I do know because EXP keeps it running. I know it was over 100 million, and I know the team did over 35 million. So I don't know, but I'm sure it's higher because I was part of the $15.888 million Obama vacation house. That was the only really big one. Yeah, I still do. I got a leasehold. You want to sell it? And right now in Waikiki, I got a $9.5 million beachfront coming up in Kailua next week, and Moana Willie, Kapolei. I don't care, Waikai. I've got them all over, and I've got them from all. I forgot to tell you on the being scrappy, and glad you brought that up, is to take whatever you can get. You can be like, oh, I'm going to start in luxury. I mean, you got to put some time in and take everything you can get, everything, because all those experiences you learn are super important. That you pulled it right out of me. He's so manipulating. He didn't even, and I don't even see it coming. But he's so right. Yeah. But that was completely something that I was going to talk about. Was take whatever you can get. Take it. Just if I don't care if it's in Miley. I don't care where it's at. I would take it and I would do my very best. I would stage a house in Waianae that had nothing anywhere nice anywhere around it except pit bulls, and stage it and make it look really, really pretty and just pray that I be safe while I'm doing everything I'm doing. But it's just just do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's a book. It's phenomenal. But that's kind of what you got to live by, take everything. You don't just jump into luxury. Put your time in. Do the right thing. Do all the right things, and it will come if you know in your head that it's coming. Yeah, Annie?
How many in your staff?
Oh, in my staff? That's a good question. I actually have, Michael's a broker. He's flipping amazing. He's really the other half of my brain. He is so amazing. So I've always had a really good counterpart. He's amazing. So I have Michael, and he also is a team manager. So, and then I have a team, but they all are on their own. On my staff, though, I have a full-time staging person, and I own a ton of furniture. I have a big warehouse in Kapa'akori. And I just bought a big box truck. You're all going to see it because it's going to be list with Hawaii Lux, free staging. You're all going to hate me because it's going to be all over the island. And then I also have one virtual assistant, a full-time transaction coordinator, virtual assistants full-time too, and a marketing person, and now Oh, and then Cece just came on, and she's doing some social marketing for me. So anyway, yeah, I've got, who else? Oh yeah, Clint. So I found this guy, ended up getting him off the street. He's homeless his whole entire life. Literally grew up on the same street as Eddie Aikau in Kalihi. Got him off the street. I pay for him for a cute little place in Kailua. And then he does all kinds of handyman stuff for me. So that's kind of like having an employee because he works his rent off and he's an amazing human being. So another that started with those random acts. You don't know what you're gonna get. Yeah?
What do you see for your team as far as Hawaii Loves? Like how, the next 10 years, what's your goals for that?
For Hawaii Lux, he sounds like you. He was bugging me about that yesterday. I think what I would like to see, it's funny you asked because I just told my husband, I answered him. I was like, well, Michael made me answer that, so I kind of came up with something. My team's all like, yeah, what are you doing? But no, I think what I see by Kavena, what I see is I would like to go more into the luxury and just stay in luxury, trying to do, what I'm going to do is like 12 luxury homes a year and then really have the rest of that, make Michael help me deal with the rest of it. Yeah, at this point. But it took me a long time to get here. Yeah.
You mentioned you don't prefer paperwork, like you.
Oh, I'm terrible at paperwork.
And whatnot. Do you still do your own research for your clients? Like, you set up, you run the comps, you set up none of that?
No, I don't do that. Mm-mm. No. Michael. How does it work with having somebody? First of all, finding somebody like a Michael is really like finding another really good agent or broker. He was a broker in charge for an office up on the North Shore. So you don't just go find a brand new agent. That's not going to work. I mean, you got to get somebody that's willing to work with you and dance with you. And, we work together 9 to 5 every day. He's on my team, but he's a team manager too. Yeah.
If you were to bring on new agents, what would you tell them to expect as far as support from you guys to be a part of the team? What are you doing?
To part of our team, we do staging for all of our listings. And then we just do, we work together. A lot of times if you're a brand new agent, if you're thinking of joining a team, a really good idea is to go to a team because you're new. So then you go in to do a listing presentation and you're going with the team leader together. I have a phenomenal listing presentation. So we work that together. We go get the listing. When we ever are negotiating and there's issues, I mean, to tell you the truth, I used to be the one that always did that, but Michael also is just as good at just being there to help support the team and all of their questions and what they have. I have all the signs. I have all the, I do all the I pay for the transaction coordinator for the whole team. Nobody on the team has to do paperwork at all. Zero. Yeah. My home in Kailua, no office. Taco Tuesday. Huh? I know, it's fun. You guys, I'm telling you, it's amazing. I run this business over $1 million in real estate a year from the island in my kitchen. Okay? You can do that. You can do that. And sometimes it's chaotic, but I'm really good at just staying focused. And if I don't, he keeps me there. Hey, who you're calling next. That's my goal all day. So really having somebody that supports you well is important. I think that the reason I did so well this year, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I had Michael. So, yeah, I think if you get a really good person, you can go really far. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Give it up again. Awesome. A lot of great tips there. I mean, I took a ton of notes, but I love your whole mindset piece because that's exactly where it's at. That was the first start of it in December, was about the mindset. We can teach you all these tips and tricks and tools and systems, but if you can't think what's between these two ears right here, it's not going to make sense at all. Not at all. You'll start with the wind in your sail and you're quitting like literally months. So this whole mindset piece is to get up, keep going. I say show up and get up. Two things, show up every day, and every time you get knocked down, get up. Because the quicker you get up, the less pain, she said, it will run fast. So that was awesome. Thank you again. Give it up for Sherine. So, as we continue this series for You Matter, this year, for those every year, but I'm click this. This is our digital book. You haven't clicked it yet, click it. This literally is a book that is kind of, I literally tripped out. It's like 30 pages of an entire book. But the reality is behind all this is we're going to condense this thing and keep kind of evolving it all year long for the rest of the year. Every time there's a training, we're going to put the data in there, all the videos, put everything in this thing so that we make the book constantly evolving and rolling. There's also several sponsors that have sponsored the book there, so check those things out. Duncan, Sia, there's a few other ones, a couple mortgage guys, American Preferred Home Warranty, Julie Vigo, they're in there too. But this book will be updated constantly. Follow. When you click on it, you can open it up and hit things that you like it, and then you can follow it. So constantly keep putting things in there, and then you guys will see updates on it all the time. So this is going on for the whole entire year. So it's a digital book. And Kara actually put it together. Kara Crimmins, give her a hands up. She did this book. So I'm excited for this because I had zero idea how to do this. I'm the wrong age for that. I had no idea. She literally put it together like boom. So this is designed for you guys to not even have all the papers anymore. It's literally on your phone. It's like a tablet. Just keep flipping things. It's in the book. The video that we had last month is there too. This video here will be in there too. Every video will be in there. Every training will be in there. And so it's going to be an entire book the whole year. Okay? So it's going to be awesome. Also, how did the next one, Michael? I think the next one you say?
Oh,
Yes, the second text for you. I can hear that. I hope this was good stuff for you guys today, yeah? Awesome. So, yes.
So just so everybody knows, we had our team meeting a little bit earlier today in the building, and we had guests and had inspections, and brought a bunch of t-shirts. I left them on the table back here. They're breast cancer awareness t-shirts, so if you want to grab one, there's like 5 left. So help yourself.
Awesome, thank you. And we're going to keep this series going next month. The very man himself sitting there in the chair is going to get us build a $100 million business in 2025. Bill Danaka right there. The guy's running a massive team of starting from zero to hero in his business here at EXP. Again, a history of real estate, his whole entire family. Now he was a full banker that came over here at EXP and his brother alone, and look what they've built. You believe you're like the #1 over there in Big Island right now? Or what was your stats that you put out there today? Okay, #1 all of EXP. So there's something to be said about that. He's going to be training next month in February. Scan the QR code for this one too. Again, it's all designed for you guys to help elevate and grow your business, but also use this as an attraction tool. Yes, we're in EXP. It's a great way to build your revenue share. Every one of these events is designed for you to invite. These things right here, I guarantee one thing this year. In 2025, there's like one broker in Hawaii that's going to be putting on things we're doing here. With the top talent we have in this room, on this island, and we're flying ones in from the mainland. I'm bringing people from the mainland here to do stuff too. So it's going to be a combination of both. So this is exciting for you guys. $10, the cost of Starbucks, $10. If you want to bring a guest, use the code word guest, and you get free tickets. So invite 2, 3, 4, 5, invite 10, bring them to these events because they're going to see what this is all about, what we're doing, and we're providing for you guys. Okay? So I hope this was helpful to you guys today. Have an amazing day. Thanks for heartbeat fabric, but thanks a lot, guys. See you next month.
Nice shot, Chris.